that's the theme.
Yes.
You're going back to the beginning.
We're going back to the beginning.
From day one.
I love that.
Like when you're in diapers.
Oh my goodness.
There's really nothing there. Well, it all started in high school.
Well,
Really.
yeah, what's funny is that 4 out of 5 guys in this band are all from the same high school. So we're literally a high school band.
That's so cool.
And yeah.
Remember that Oprah just visited our high school?
Really?
I had to say it because it's kind of a big deal.
That's
I didn't know that she did that.
It just randomly came over. Anyways, that's so now we're not like the big claim to fame from our high school anymore. It's Oprah now. So.
Oprah.
But yeah, so we all started playing music a little bit. My dad's kind of a failed musician, not failed, but he wanted to be in a band. I think he started when he was quite young and never worked out. But he plays guitar and he loves to sing and stuff like that. So when I was younger, I was probably 6 or 7 or 8. Started playing guitar. My dad had a guitar at home, so I started playing. And I have 2 brothers. And for a minute, there was like a friend of my dad's like, we should start a family band.
Family band, yeah.
And so we started playing it like probably about 10 years old or 12 years old.
Wow.
And we weren't very good. And like I remember a moment that really is kind of imprinted in my memory, which is kind of weird, is that we had to figure out who's going to be the singer. We're 3 brothers. One of my brothers is tone deaf. He doesn't understand music whatsoever. Then my other one, my oldest brother, is quite good at music and plays guitar and he can sing and all that stuff. So we kind of like both like, oh, and this older friend of my dad's like, okay, let's hear you guys sing a little piece here. And we both sang a little piece. And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't sing. Your brother's going to sing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, ouch, that really hurt.
Yeah.
And then so years later, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. So both my brother and I were in different bands. And like he had a band in high school and it didn't work out. Now he's a pilot for a big airline. So
wow.
he did just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up starting a band with my friends in high school with Chuck and another couple of guys. And had that band for a few years. And then later, Jeff, who I played in the high school band with, I played saxophone. He played the bass.
In the schools
Yeah,
band?
a classical,
Cool, yeah.
we did that. We did like summer camps together, playing music together and, sneaking away and smoking cigarettes and doing
of course.
stupid stuff,
High school stuff.
No.
but we don't smoke anymore. We don't condone that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we all knew each other from a long time. Sebastian was Jeff's best friend's little brother.
I used to play in a band with his brother. So it was all very incestuous,
yeah.
you know, like we all knew each other. Like it was kind of a large area, but we all went to high school. That was like the point of, where
We all
everybody
met.
And you guys were all friends in high school?
Yeah, he was a year older than Chuck and I, and then
Okay.
Sebastian
was
was
younger.
2 years younger than him,
Oh, right.
than
2
us.
years, yeah.
So we were kind of like we knew each other. We had like common friends, and Jeff was a great guitar player. We all knew that, and like he knew that we had a band, and like so then when that band kind of fizzled away, we all got back together and like started like another band right after high school, and we're like, hey, we'll start this band and we'll try to get signed to a big major label,
Yeah.
and do it big, and like
The cool story though about David, because we're all talking about that high school, connection.
Yeah.
Later down the road, we played as a 4-piece for a little bit,
Yep.
like a year and a half, 2 years, and then things were happening, but not like we weren't getting signed, or anything, and then we saw this kid playing.
Well, he replaced me,
replaced
so I quit
Pierre
my
in-
previous band because I wanted to commit to Simple Plan.
Okay. So you
Okay.
were already Simple Plan before
No, well,
you
we
joined
I
Pierre?
no,
think we were
no,
called Simple Plan.
No, you weren't.
No?
We got the name when we were doing stuff with Graham in the
Right,
studio.
David wasn't there.
No, but he's saying before me.
No.
No.
Okay.
So I was in that other band, and then that band was kind of fizzling out, and I decided to say I'm going back with my other friends, and Chuck was a drummer from my other band, and it's really bizarre. But anyways,
So you guys left
Yeah, it was
that
like-
band to come join.
yes.
with-
Well, to form
Jeff.
to form this, really to form this band.
Okay.
And so David, who was just some random kid from out east in Quebec, replaced me in the other band.
David was the kid that would always, like
He would hitchhike 6 hours
to
to go see a
shows,
show
like
and-
literally 6 hours. Like he lived really far up north, and he would actually go see all those shows, and he knew all the band guys. And he had a reputation for being a good singer,
Yeah.
like a good performer, and he was, so he took Pierre's place in
Yeah.
that band, and we saw him on television, like at our local
Whoa.
TV station, the music station back then, or MTV, back then.
Yeah.
And he was amazing. Like he was really good.
So as a 4-piece, we kept playing. We're like, we could use another guy because it would free me from playing I was playing the bass, and I was like, it would free me to be more of a stand-up singer,
Yeah.
and have some more harmonies and stuff. So we literally poached him from the band that we
Poaching is
left.
definitely the right term.
And then that was the original lineup that we still have today. So and that was
Wow.
probably 1999 or 2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when were you guys playing your first shows then? Was that in high school with the other band? Like, how did that all come?
Our first shows as like musicians?
Yeah, as musicians. Like, how'd you get into
my
that?
first show as musician was in my high school band. I think I was in grade 9, I think, and I played a little talent show, and there was no lyrics. It's just like I was playing guitar, a guy was playing bass, and Chuck was playing drums.
Oh,
it was like
wow.
4 chords over and over again for half an hour.
Yeah, that's a rite of passage.
No, it was just the funny thing about, and I would have to say, if whoever's listening out there, if you start a band, one thing that we did is that we played very few covers. I think in my life, before the band became something, I played 2 covers. I played Nirvana, which was Rape Me. And then we played, I think we played Green Day, Basket Case,
Okay.
maybe. No, I'm not sure. And that was it. Then we started writing songs, and as bad as they were, even if there was no lyrics, nothing, we just started making up stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that was way wiser than to just learn to play other songs, because
people's stuff.
it made us like start to create like, oh, these chords sound different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it kind of forced us to write better songs, and you know, in time, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we didn't really do a lot of covers. We just went right to writing original material and made our first record with Chuck and a band. Even before that band, in my basement, my brother recorded it.
Okay.
There's 12 songs, and it was all live off the floor. I was playing guitar, and it was awful. But our friends liked it. You know, like my friends, they like it.
It kind of created a buzz.
Yeah, the songs were like, they were songs, you know, they weren't like complete crap. The lyrics were ridiculous. There was a song called Pubic Mushrooms. It was awful. It's just, you know, when you're 13, 14 years old, you just sing about stupid stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of where it all started for the band. And then we, you know, started this band, and then, you know, got signed to Atlantic Records or Lava, whatever it was called back then. And then, you know, the rest is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny because you kind of like think that it starts, you know, like right away, and it really goes on. I just remember like playing shows to 12 people at first, you know, like playing to nobody, and it took about like 2 years, even after getting signed, for anything to happen. And then you had like someone kind of championing the band and saying, you know, you should check out this band. Let's try to re-release the record. And after 2 years of releasing the first record, I remember like we kind of re-released it and went back on the road, and then things started to happen. And I think it's just a song, you know. We started with Kid, and I'm just a kid, and as much as it's a fan favorite, it never really connected.
Well, not in the U.S. It did great in Japan and great in Canada.
That's about it.
And then the U.S. was kind of like not really happening for us. But yeah, luckily we were signed to a small label, Lava, which is part of Atlantic, but it was a small kind of. And the president of the label, Jason Flom, and the guy that signed us, Andy Karp, they believed in us, and I think it shows just how like times have changed. You mean, like they were like, no, we believe in this. And like I remember Jason, who was the president of Lava, his daughter or his son, I think it was his daughter, really liked the song Perfect.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was like, if my daughter likes it, I know it's a hit.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was just like, I know, like, this is going to be huge. My kids are loving it. Like, I just know it. And they pushed and pushed. We had a great team behind us. And
we also had Blink-182 help us.
yeah,
quite a bit,
the whole
know?
landscape, you know, it's like that was after Green Day and Blink-182. And then there was like the Newfound Glory was coming out, and Good Charlotte was coming out, and Sum 41. It was just a perfect time for a band like us to come out. Yeah. And then when we had a guy that worked at Lava. His name was Doug Cohen. Was great, and he was the MTV relationship guy, and he once again really believed in us.
Yeah,
he was able to get like I'd do anything on MTV, and that started getting on TRL. And
I
then
remember seeing your video on TRL.
And then it just it just snowballed into just like MTV really broke our band, which is
before radio.
Which is, it doesn't exist anymore. MTV doesn't exist, but that really helped us to catapult the whole thing into what it became. So I Do Anything did well on TRL, and then Addicted did well on TRL.
Yeah.
It actually became, they retired it because it was, you're too long in the top 5 and they have to like retire it.
Yeah.
Let's change songs. We heard enough of you. Move on.
So and then Perfect really connected, on the radio, and like really kind of took the band to a whole new level, and and that really kind of Perfect really became who the band was, I think, and really kind of set the tone for what we could do, and then we followed up with another great record. Luckily, I mean, we went to a different producer, went to Bob Rock, and we did this record. Still not getting any, and now it was just a good time, for us. I think that it's a combination of putting out the right material, having us as a band being really committed and really kind of like we believed in what we were doing, and we had confidence of young guys that were like, no, this is awesome, you know.
Yeah.
We did Welcome to My Life on the second record. Untitled was a big hit, and Shut Up was a big hit.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a time when I think it's just lightning in a bottle. You know, you don't really know how it all happened. But the cool thing is I think that so many of the songs like Perfect or I'm Just a Kid or Welcome to My Life or Untitled or all those songs are they're so true and honest, and like, you know, I think that our fan base has stayed with us throughout all this time because of it, you know.
It's so relatable to on so many levels.
But I think also it's just that those songs meant a lot to people. You know, I think that people come to us even today like, dude, you have no idea, man. It's funny, I was writing a song yesterday with an outside songwriter and from LA, a guy that he wrote with us a few songs in the past, and he was texting with another co-writer who's this up and coming guy that's writing songs for really big people that I can't mention. But he was like, hey, sorry, I can't talk to you. I'm writing with Simple Plan. This guy that I won't name is like, are you serious? It's like, yeah. He's like, dude, you have no idea. This is like the band that like changed my life. And I'm like, how is this possible? That some like guy that's writing cool songs for like, you know, the top people right now is like, dude, Perfect is my jam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so cool, you know? So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is really, really cool. How did you guys get hooked up with Atlantic then?
It's kind of a crazy story because basically, you know, we bought this book called The Yellow Pages of Rock. So before the internet was a thing, you know, you would actually you needed the phone numbers of people, you know, to call. So we Chuck basically played, you know, the manager and called all those people in the Yellow Pages of Rock, and they were like,
I think he also bought a book called How to Make It in the Music Business, something like that, like something as dumb.
It was our lawyer who wrote it, Ron Beanstalk.
All right, yeah.
So it was, you know, full circle. It was kind of crazy. Chuck and I went to New York. We met with the lawyer. The lawyer told us, you know,
we all went. I was there too.
Oh, you were there too.
Yeah, remember I think you guys went first, and
we
then we
went
all went
first.
together in that Toyota.
That was a
Toyota.
What
I forget.
It was
like
golden.
Tiny car. There was a gold thing we rented. We drove 7 hours. So we kind of like reverse engineered getting signed. But most people, you're in a band, you play some few shows, a manager notices you. Yeah, but like we're like, you know, screw that. We're gonna go right to the source. So Yellow Pages of Rock. Find the lawyers of all the big bands. Find the record labels. Find the A&Rs.
And we actually knocked on their doors. We went to New York and actually just brought in our demos. Yeah. And people were like, some people were like, no, you know, we don't want to see you. But certain people, actually, the first guy who accepted our demo is Andy Karp, the guy who signed us years later. Like I'm talking about 3 years later. So the way that it actually happened when we did get signed, back home, this really crazy lead singer guy has a band. He's super well known and he's got like a big buzz going. Andy Karp, we hear that Andy Karp because we have a friend that works at the label of that, you know, crazy lead singer guy. He tells us that Andy Karp is
coming to town.
The showcase. He's coming to town
to go sign this new guy.
Okay.
You know?
So we get, we tell Andy, we got to show all the same
what day
night.
Is it happening? It's like it's on that Friday. Okay, so we booked the show in a bar and invited like 250 best friends and like just
we got
everybody
drunk.
Act like we're awesome, please.
And we didn't have a lot of songs back then. We probably had
like
5
8,
or 6.
And I think we had like 7 or 8.
Yeah, well, you know, not long, you know, and we play so fast that really was 20 minutes of music.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for the record label guy to walk through the door to actually start.
And then we started playing.
So we had our friend, you know, tell us his whereabouts. We had someone at the door telling us, you know,
he's on the way now.
Go.
Yes, he's on the way. I remember the bar manager's like, you guys got to get on stage now. We're like, no, we can't go now. We can't. We have to wait. It's like, there's no more beer at the bar.
Oh yeah, we ran out of beer.
We
had some good
we drank the whole.
with us.
Well,
but that was cool, you know. It was a fun show, and he saw us perform for friends. Obviously, he kind of knew something was up, you know.
But he had seen us before, and he had come to see us a couple times. But the cool thing is that when we first started the band, we first started doing some demos, and we were all at this point like I think he was like 20, I was 19, and we were 18. We all had jobs. We all I worked for my dad. I was like driving a truck and doing stuff, and we had a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We put all our money into our demos, and we actually. How we contacted all these labels is that if you get a FedEx package, you're going to open it.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's true.
It feels important.
Yeah.
If you get a letter in the mail at a label, you're like, whatever. So we said, screw it. We spent like $2,000 on printing out professional pictures, FedExing every package with like a thing. It's like, hi, I manage Simple
We had
Plan.
a fabric. We had
like
like
a
a
whole
whole
thing.
situation going. Yeah.
So we
That's
put all our money
brilliant.
into there, and then so a few of them came back, and one of them was Andy Karpin. So when we did that show, after the show, he's like, come see me at the hotel. We went to this hotel. He sat us down in the lobby, had some drinks. He's like, guys, I think we're going to do a deal. And we're like, what?
Oh wow.
So it's pretty awesome.
After that, do you remember like telling your family like, hey, we're gonna get signed
We
to
were
a major
careful.
It was
label?
huge
because
news,
I
yeah.
don't know if you remember, but we almost got signed before that to a Canadian label, and
It
on
was
the
all
first
lined up.
time,
Yeah, it was all lined up.
lined up. It was going to happen.
And the president got canned.
President got canned. New president did not like
And
Simple Plan.
a lady came in, not does it matter if it's a girl or a man, but she came in and she was like, I'm not feeling Simple Plan. And we're like,
Well, we had told all our
so
friends.
devastated,
We
yeah.
were like, bragging
Of course, yeah.
everywhere about the fact that we were getting signed. So on the second time, we were more like, okay,
yeah.
let's
Until I signed those papers.
Yeah.
until I see the check.
Yeah. but even then, it's like funny because when you're a young band, you feel like, you get signed to a major label, you've made it.
Right.
But it really is just the doors opening. You still have to you have to make a record.
You got to make a good record.
How many bands have been signed and then shelved and just
yeah.
never see the light of
Endless.
day, or just so it was exciting times, and
We didn't even have Perfect back then.
when we got signed,
No, that song
No.
came really later down the road.
Yeah.
So we got into
we
the
got signed with
studio.
I Do Anything, which was a previous version that doesn't even sound.
Addicted.
We had Addicted, and we had
I'm Just a Kid.
Yeah,
And then
got
we
signed
had
on
a few other songs, and some of them didn't even make it onto the record.
Uh-huh.
But Perfect, being the biggest song that we had on that record, really came much later down the process of being in the studio. And we stayed in the studio for like a year,
almost 2 years. Yeah,
almost 2 years. It was pretty brutal because we were recording in Toronto in a kind of a warehouse studio. We were living there in bunk beds in a little tiny windowless room.
And the reason why we were there for so long is because we basically got signed to our management company before the label. So they came. We once again sort of solicited people, and one of them was a manager in Toronto that manages Our Lady Peace, which at the time Our Lady Peace was gigantic
massive.
We love
in
that
Canada.
band.
Yeah.
So we're like, this would be a great manager. So he came and saw us. He's like, I'll sign you guys, but we'll do a deal where we'll help you get signed. We'll help you. We're not going to give you a bunch of money, but we'll pay for you guys to get signed. So the management company was basically funding us to be in the studio and create more demos and write more songs. So by the time we made the record, we had been in the studio with Arnold, our first producer, for like almost 2 years.
Wow.
Like we hated each other. We're like I can't stand you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you have the person that was funding that, the manager, was that before you guys signed?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, and then once we got signed, we got a little bit of money, and that way we can everyone got paid, and then we could survive without having to take out loans.
But we reinvested everything into
Back
the
into the
band.
band. Yeah.
Yeah. We got.
We
this-
didn't. Yeah, it wasn't any money personally coming to us. I think we all pocketed a couple $1,000s, and that was it. The rest
Yeah.
is like, we got to make a record, we got to do this.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it's
We
pretty
went back
exciting.
on tour. Like we had an offer to play the parking lots on the Blink 182 Green Day tour.
Oh,
And
the Pop Disaster tour?
The Pop Disaster
Oh,
tour, exactly.
wow.
So we were the parking lot band with another band called
Cut You Up.
Cut You Up.
Oh, yeah.
right.
And they're from San Diego.
man.
Yeah.
So
Wait, no-
basically,
yeah,
they
I
were
remember
touring in
that.
buses, like crazy routing, and we had to have a tour bus as well. Actually, we
No,
did.
we
did the Winnebago thing.
Yeah, we rented a Winnebago and a trailer, and we just pulled it and we
your
drove
dad
it
drove
ourselves.
it? Was it that your
Well,
dad?
that was Sugar Ray tour.
That was Sugar Ray.
Yeah, which
Oh,
was
we had a
which was
friend of
before.
ours.
Yeah, which was before. But the timelines are all messed up right now.
Yeah.
But
okay.
confusing
No,
everybody
no.
here,
But yeah, then we just
love
started
it.
touring, and everywhere we went, we were able to convince audiences that they should become our fans. We play shows and jump in the crowd, and go to the merch booth and be like, "We'll meet everybody out
We
there."
were walking
Oh,
with
that's
like
so cool.
CD players, like before the shows, and telling people, do you like that music? Yeah, well, you should check out the band at this time.
Do you like Blink? Come and check us out. And then full circle later, Mark sang on our first song, "I Do Anything."
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that. Is that how you guys got hooked up with Mark? And
Yeah, so actually that's, once again, the timeline's kind of messed up. So one of the things, myself and Chuck, we had a band before this band called Reset. It was kind of had some success in Montreal.
Okay.
We played a lot of like punk rock shows, a lot of like snow jams and different things. And one of the bands we played with a couple times was Blink 182.
Wow.
So we kind of like knew them, and they knew who we were somewhat.
Yeah.
And Chuck over the years had sort of maintain that little relationship he had. Like, hey, Mark, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
So as this band started, he was like, by email, it's like, hey, Mark, got a new band going. You want to hear my demo? And then we wait. 5 days. Did he reply? No, he didn't reply. You should write back. I'm not going to write back. I'm going to wait. It's like, and then like, a month later, Mark's like, hey, dude, sorry, it's been a while. Yeah, send me your demo. Okay, cool. Big reply, wait. It's like, so finally, I remember they were playing a Warped Tour. Blink was playing a Warped Tour probably in 2000 or 2001. And they were coming to Toronto. So we drove up from Montreal, 6-hour drive, and went to see them play. And we're like full on fangirling outside their bus. Like just, and like Chuck's like, I'm going to give him the demo, dude. He told me he likes this song. He wants to hear it. And I'm like, this is stupid. Why are we here? I feel so embarrassed. He's like, no, trust me, man. Mark likes us. It's cool. So we waited. It was like till like midnight. And then they're about to leave. The buses are all starting. And we're like, man, this is so dumb. What are we doing? And finally, Chuck knocks on the door. He's like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, oh, come on in. And I'm like waiting outside. I'm like, oh, my God. So he goes in. He comes back out 20 minutes later. He's like, I gave him the demo. He said he's going to listen to it. So I listened to it. And sure enough, like he wrote back. And he's like, dude, I love this song. I'd do anything. It's so rad. And we kind of took note of that. We're like, he loves this song, whatever. And then when we made the record, we sort of called in that favor and be like, hey, would you want to sing on it? He's like, sure, I'd love to.
That's amazing.
So and it's funny because the version is a little bit different. The verses are different. Like the chorus is the same, but a lot of things are different. And I remember when he heard the new version, he was like, I kind of like the original better. And we were like, oh crap, you still want to sing on it though? He's like, yeah, I'll sing on it. So and that was huge for us, in those days, when What's My Age Again was coming out and all that stuff, and Blink-182 was so massive.
They were huge. Yeah, I remember that Warped Tour that they played because it was right after Enema of the State came out. And the Warped Tour was here at the fairgrounds.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Living in San Diego, I'd seen Blink a handful of times prior, but after that record came out and on that Warped Tour, they blew up, and there's girls following them and shouting at them. It was insane. They were totally like the next level of a band.
When Mark recorded the vocals for us, Chuck and I flew into San Diego for it. It was my first time here. I think so. Yeah, my first time in San Diego. Funny now that I've lived here for so long.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing.
So I flew in. I don't remember where he lived, but I'm trying to remember now that I've lived here. I'm like, I think it was in Del Mar. It was on a golf course somewhere. And it was we were just like, oh my God, we're going to Mark's house. We're going to Mark's house. And we get there. His house is gorgeous, beautiful. His wife's there. They're all super nice. And when we leave the house to go to the studio, I'm like, hey, can we get a picture with you? And we're in front of his house. And he's like, could you not take it in front of the house? And I'm like, oh my God, so sorry. He's like, yeah, it's like right now I don't want people to know where I live. And I'm like, whoa, I had no idea, like,
it's something you wouldn't even think of.
No, I wouldn't think of it,
like
but I was like, yeah,
level,
at that time it was just like blowing up. Wow. So that was super cool, and so he was on the record with us, and that really helped us out. I think it just put the spotlight on us a little bit more. All those little things kind of just did. People always ask, like, what was the thing that like gave you your success? And there wasn't one. It was the record, the songs, Mark singing on it, our record label, MTV,
of touring. We played a lot of opening slots on a bunch of tours. I was going to ask about
the Pop Disaster Tour. We opened up for Sugar Ray across a college tour with them, and we picked up fans every day. We must picked up like 300, 400, 500 fans that just kept following us.
We played some crazy Christmas shows with
Aerosmith,
but we also did
a lot Jingle Ball stuff, like
Britney
all that kind of stuff.
Spears, I J-Lo, a bunch of really big artists, but that really didn't have anything to do with our scene. But it was good exposure.
Yeah, sure. We even played some urban stations in some towns where we're like, it's like super hip hop, like really hardcore hip hop crowd, and we're like, what are we doing? And we played, and people were like,
jumping around.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, cool. But the stations that support the band, you got to go out and play their radio show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite the crazy adventure.
What was your guys' first tour as Simple Plan?
It was Sugar Ray.
It would be Sugar Ray. Yeah. So right when our record's coming out, right before it came out, it's about a month before it came out. Sugar Ray was also signed to Lava Records, which is convenient. So our A&R guy, Andy Karp, and the president, Jason Flom, like, we got you a slot on a Sugar Ray tour. It's 2.5 weeks. They're nice guys. They'll take you out. You got to start playing the U.S. Just do it. So we did that. We did 2.5 weeks. We met the guys. We met Mark McGrath and all that, and they were super nice. And they really kind of like took us under their wing and like really every night they'd mention, like Mark would go on stage and be like, all right, you guys doing? You guys watch Simple Plan? Those guys are, one day we're going to be opening up for them.
Oh, that's so cool.
So they were really, really nice. And then
2.5 weeks became 3 months.
Yeah, so at the end of the tour, they
Wow.
were doing a second leg a month later, and they're like, if you guys want, the tour is open for you guys for next month. And we're like, yeah, absolutely. So we toured with them for like a month and a half. I remember that our record came out while we were on that tour, and they brought champagne out, and they were
that's
super
so cool.
nice. And yes, that was our first tour, and then we did Pop Disaster.
Okay.
But we didn't play the actual tour. We played like, the big amphitheaters. We played like the concession stands.
Oh, right, the side stages.
Yeah, the little side stages there.
Yeah.
Sometimes even in the parking lot. So, but that was great too. I mean, that to me, I think if I look back on the most fun I've ever had being in the band was probably that tour, because it felt like it was Green Day, Blink-182 at the height of their.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Green Day's height came a little bit after, but Blink-182 was like as massive as they could possibly be. Green Day has always been massive, but they didn't have American Idiot. Was what I'm saying. Yeah. So we're basically we're walking around this tour. It has 20,000 people every night, gigantic, and we have a backstage pass. And we're walking around like in two of our favorite bands of all time, and we're just going in the crowd, like meeting people, like, hey, you want to come have beer backstage? And we're young guys, like meeting girls, and it's just the fact that we could, like, I remember just going backstage and like seeing the guys and just be like going to catering. I'm on this tour. Yeah, it's awesome. And like they had like a bunch of like production where they have like, they call them concussions, but when you have like a big bang on a show, you do like when they go I don't know. What'd you call it? It's like
it's basically like a really
big
sound,
massive pyro bang.
Okay, yeah.
So when you're on the tour, when they're happening, right?
Because
and there's a light in the back that goes like, because if you're next to it, you will lose your hearing. Oh, wow. But we felt so cool to be like, bro, it's coming. Block your ears, bro.
All the cues.
All the cues. It just felt like this is the coolest thing in the world,
That's amazing.
And we were we had a Winnebago that we had rented. But we were driving ourselves and just like going from town to town. It was crazy.
I hadn't really crossed the border yet, and it was crazy just learning about, like basically seeing how different it is throughout the country. You go through the East Coast, you go to the West Coast. It's like it's not even the same place, at all.
Like Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Wow, what a discovery! That changed my mind. It blew my mind. That was amazing. So yeah, it was a great experience. It was pretty crazy.
I don't know how true this is. I read that you guys played Warped Tour from '99 to 2005 every single year, all the way through there.
So here's a loophole.
Okay.
We are one of the bands that holds the most Warped Tours. Only one band has beat us.
13 times.
And it's less than Jake.
Oh, okay.
So we've played it for 12 or 13 years, and they've done one more.
They have some years on you as a band.
But the thing is that we didn't play all of it every year. We would play like,
But portions of it.
Yeah, we played like Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa.
We made sure our name was always on the poster.
Yeah, we always like,
we almost
that's all
that matters, right?
We almost wanted to be part of it somehow every year. So we played like, I think we did the whole thing like 2 or 3 times, and we did like a month portion for like 3 times. Then we did like 2-week portion for a couple times. But yeah, over the course of like 20 years, we played it like 12 years. So.
Wow.
But we did it fully 3 times.
Yeah.
And was that early on or later?
The first time,
because I know you headlined it a few times.
Yeah, we just played it the whole thing this last year.
Yeah, the final one.
Yeah,
we did. I think 2004 was the first time
we
where
did
we played the whole thing.
Okay.
And it was a great year. We had Thrice with us, Yellow Card.
Oh wow.
Sum 41 came in a few times.
Yeah,
it was just crazy.
Yeah, Rejects were there a couple times.
The All American Rejects.
Yeah.
So it was just a really good time, and it was fun. It's really Warped Tour is amazing because you're really playing half an hour. The rest of the day you're just mingling, talking to people, having a good time. It's really a lot. It's pretty easy.
It's like summer camp.
Summer camp for bands.
Yeah.
You said you were pounding on Blink's door. Was that? Were you playing the Warped Tour that year?
No, that was before the band was even like sort of
doing anything.
There's no record yet. So,
okay.
Yeah, this was before that.
Earlier.
That was probably, I want to say, probably 2000 or 1999. So the band had formed, but we didn't have a record out yet. We didn't have anything. We were just playing a couple shows in the neighborhood. So
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then so you had the record out. You put out the second album and
the self-titled. This is where the confusing time for pop punk happened.
Yeah. Okay.
This is where 2002 awesome time for pop. 2000 pop punk is top of the chart. 2002 2004 we're doing awesome.
Yeah.
And then you don't hear it on the radio anymore. Now it's like Justin Timberlake and like
there's a total change in
it's like you're
music.
starting to hear like stuff that people don't want to hear anymore. So what do you do when you're in a band in our position? You're like, you start to think you have to reinvent yourself,
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of writing with some different people, different producers. We wrote with a guy called Danger, who produced some like
part of the
Nelly
Timbaland
Furtado, Timbaland crew, all that kind of stuff. And it made a cool record that today a lot of our fans call it their favorite one.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was confusing because we didn't know, like, look how we're dressed. I mean, we didn't change the way we look and look more mature. And it's like I had the Justin Bieber haircut before he had it. It's like, and I think it was like a time where we questioned ourselves. This was like a time of like real, sort of like
we finished the record, we went on Warped Tour, we were exactly where we had to be,
and it was confidence. We know what we want to do. People love what we're doing. It's cool. And then it's like, I don't know if they want to hear that anymore. So we changed a little bit. And with the, I think also the waves of pop punk and all that kind of came and went.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult time for us. I mean, internationally, this record did well.
I was going to say, I think it did. It
did super
well.
good. Yeah. No. The numbers are great. But in the U.S., it kind of like, because this was so big, you could never follow up those two records.
Well, yeah, the first one.
I think they sold 5 million together, 5-6 million. So it's like following that was just kind of really difficult.
Yeah.
And that I think took a little bit of a toll on us because we got a little confused.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little more fights in the band. We're a big name. Now we're like, we're not just a band of young kids. We're a big name that people know, and it's like, oh, you're cool, you're not cool, you're this, you're that, your music's too pop, it's not pop enough, it's not this. So we got a little confused. And so it came out with that record, but it did super well internationally. And then
you worked with Max Martin on that record too, who wrote. He's the guy that wrote like all those hits. Backstreet Boys and
that one actually,
Britney Spears.
I would love to say that we worked with Max Martin, and we did, but it was kind of a missed opportunity. So we had this song that we had written with another guy called Danger, and we finally got the opportunity to meet Max Martin and write a song with him.
Yeah.
So we get there, and he's like, "Do you have any stuff to play me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we'll play you this song." And the song that we had that was called. I think at the Generation, yeah.
Okay.
And we played it, and he was like, "I love this. It's so fresh, so awesome." He's like, "You guys want to work on that?" And we're like, "Okay." So we just took that song and we reworked the lyrics and like sort of like made it better and made a version of it, which we then changed anyways. So it's like I felt like we should have just wrote one, from scratch with him.
Yeah, a whole song from scratch.
But it wasn't even a single or anything. It was just a song that we wrote with him.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it was super fun. And I think it was a big growth period for us because we transitioned from being just that pop punk band to doing stuff that was a little more out there.
Yeah.
And it kind of set the tone for the rest of our career because we still do that today. We do stuff that's kind of outside the box, and we don't just do branch.
Sure. Yeah.
So. So it was kind of cool. And then a fourth record came out, which was kind of like a return to the pop punk roots of not taking ourselves too seriously.
And that's the album that you brought more people on again, right?
Yeah.
That's when you had like Rivers go on the record.
Yeah.
And
well, since the third record, we've used outside co-writers, and people sometimes hear that and think like, oh, someone else is making your record. But Chuck and I, we do all the beginning of writings together.
Yeah.
And we always have.
Mm-hmm.
And when we bring co-writers in, we collaborate. I would say 99% of the ideas that we've ever come up with other people have been started by us.
Yeah.
And
then
formed by
they
us.
help.
Yeah. And
they also have a style.
Yeah.
If you want to keep that Simple Plan sound, it has to come from you.
Yeah.
Right,
but what was
course.
nice is that it brought someone else in there to kind of mediate. Because we've been writing songs together now for 25 years.
Yeah,
it's like being married. Like it's like writing a
cool.
song with your wife. You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's going to be some like, yeah, I don't like what he's doing.
Help,
yeah.
like attention.
We need someone to be like, no, let him talk. He's got a good idea. So since then, we've been using co-writers almost all the time, and it's been great. It's been on this new record coming out in the next few months. I don't know when, but coming up soon. We co-write with Travis from We the Kings a lot, who's a friend of ours.
Cool.
We co-wrote with a guy called Nate Campany, who's written a couple songs with us before. So I think it's just nice to have someone there to be just the same thing, like a ref or a mediator, to be like, hey, I have an idea, or like, we're stuck here. What should we do? So it's been working really well.
That's really, really cool. Do you remember what point you started getting recognized by people when you're out and about? Do you remember the first time
enough,
people
I think you have a different relationship to that than I do. Well, Pierre, when you want our hometown in Montreal, basically we went from not even selling out the club there to playing the arena in no time. Like basically a TV show kind of changed everything for us. And then after that, like we would walk in the streets and people would stop us, have like, long stories about the songs and everything. And Pierre, I guess, is really recognizable in Montreal, but he doesn't live there anymore. I'm the bald dude in the band. They don't know my name, but I'm that bald dude.
But you notice the shaved head,
So they're like, do you work next to my house? What do you do? I know you from somewhere. I'm like, possible. But I get more of that than really having like, holy shit, Jeff signed my bra. It's more that kind of thing, So, but if we walk together as a band, definitely we'll get recognized.
Yeah.
I think I don't even know where it started. I think that it didn't happen as much back then as it would today because we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
We came out at a time before Instagram, before Facebook, before
you
MySpace.
had to have the CD.
Well, when we did New York Minute,
we started getting recognized.
That would be definitely a lot more by then. That was a big movie, even though like I had no idea who
Oh, that was with the Olsen sisters.
Yeah.
Sisters. I had no clue how big they were.
We still got asked to play that song. There's a song on there that was in the movie, and that and it's called Vacation, and it's not the best song we ever did, but it worked. And still today, fans are like, "Play Vacation." That's awesome. That's how I found out about your band.
The movie was huge.
Olsen twins, dude.
It was so big.
Gigantic.
So I still hear about it all the time. And back then, I know that a lot of people got exposed to the band because of that appearance that we did in that movie.
That's amazing.
I'm just a huge fan, and I'm so thankful that you guys took the time to talk to us. And I absolutely love Boom. And
awesome. We'll play it tonight.
Yes, please.
She's excited. When we came in, you guys were sound checking, and I think you said something. You're like, "Oh, should we do Boom?" or blah? And then she was like,
"Please, Boom."
And then you did the other one. I'm like, well, maybe they'll play it tonight.
Oh, we're playing tonight. We are doing it.
I'm excited.
Awesome.
Do you guys have any advice for aspiring artists?
I think what I said earlier, don't do too many covers. I think that when you write songs at the beginning, they're not going to be that great. I mean, maybe they will be. Mm-hmm. Some people out there maybe are incredible. But I think that, if you look back at so many artists today, if you heard their first songs, they probably wouldn't be very good. And I think the more you do it, the better you become. So I would say start writing songs. And especially today, there's so many opportunities to learn the craft of producing and like get yourself some software, a good computer, a good mic, play. You can make stuff now on a computer that sounds like records. I mean, you can literally make records on a computer now. So I think just do it. It's like you have to try and you have to dare to suck, as you would say, as we would say.
Be a good person too. Oddly enough, it sounds really easy to say, but you see so many young artists that have such egos and are really shitty to the people they work with because, you climb that ladder a lot faster than, when you fall down and then suddenly, you need friends around you to keep you together, even as a band when you have your career going. So I think we were good at keeping relationships, even amongst ourselves,
Be Canadian.
Be Canadian. Be proper. Apologize for everything. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Hey.